Okay, now that I've explained the background of it all, the way we started our journey is when we decided that we are ready, we sort of have the funds for it, we wanted to start looking for real, because no matter how much research you do online, any sort of calculations you get are sort of averages, they're not very accurate. So we wanted to sit down, speak to people and start looking for real. So in September 2019 we started looking at new developments that are in our vicinity, but even if they were out of our budget, we just wanted to see the standard, the service, the different house models, because the good thing about developments is there is a lot of house types, but they seem to be like made exactly the same. Even if they're called something different, like up north than what it is down south, it's the exact same design. So when you find the type, but for example the local area just isn't for you, you can look around at different areas within the UK to find what you're looking for, because it is very likely that they will have the same house types. So I went online, I started typing in new build developments near me into Google and the type of new build development companies. So obviously I think the top three that kept popping up was Taylor Wimpey, Barratt and Redrow. I think for us, Redrow and Bellway. I think Bellway is another one, yes. So they were the top sort of results that came up for me when I was looking for new build developments. The ones that sort of online, you can already see the house types, developments, prices, floor plans, everything you want to know before you visit the local area. So I started looking at developments near us, how far away they are, the different types of houses they have, the floor plans, things like that. And in September we went to a development just to purely have a look around. We explained to them this is the first ever time we've looked at a house and we just want to know where we stand, how to start the whole process, what's expected of us, etc, etc. And it was super helpful. And funny thing is, the lady who showed us our first house, first like development, showed us around and we spoke to, was the one that completed our house for us here, and it's a completely different development. So the same saleswoman had to fill in at our development, and she gave us our keys and she showed us our first Camford. So we moved into a Camford, a Taylor Wimpey Camford. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but in September 2019 we saw our first Camford. Initially we wanted to go for a 3-bed just because I don't like moving around. I felt like if we get a suitable enough, like a big enough house, not just for the two of us, but for any future additions we might have, we won't have to move for a good while. But soon we had to realise, you know, have a reality check of what's available, what is our priority, what we want to get out of this. And when we were looking at 3 beds, because she was like, you need to look at all the house types, look at the finishes, look at the options available, as in like tiles, layouts, flooring, everything. So we did, and we got a bit carried away about the type of house we wanted. We wanted this grand 3-bed where the kitchen had a kitchen island, it had a separate dining, it had a garage, you know, the ideal family home. But essentially she showed us the Camford last, and because of that we went in there and we're like, oh, no, this is not for us, it's too small, we don't like the layout. After seeing all those grand houses, we just thought the Camford isn't for us, it's too small, we don't want it. And funnily enough, it's perfect for what we wanted, but I guess it's just the way that it was introduced to us. We just didn't have, it was the first time we ever viewed houses, so we just thought, no, this isn't what we wanted. And funnily enough, the lady that was showing us around gave us our keys here, so full circle. Yeah, if you believe in those things. It was just super weird. Anyway, so September we started looking, then that development finished, so it was towards the end of completion. These developments take 5 to, I think even up to 10 years to even complete. Ours is 7, so we've got quite a while to go. I think they're on year 2 or 3. I know phase 2 is just starting now, so it's fairly new. And we thought, oh, when a development finishes, the houses will be cheaper because that's what's left, and we'll like snag ourselves a nice 3-bed for a cheaper price. But it wasn't. And then there was a development literally just down the road, and we thought, oh, we're going to go for that one because that's closer to home. The house prices were ridiculous, and that's something you will find. Really, it's the same house, exactly the same house, but just depending on the area you buy it in, house prices will be ridiculously different. So the houses on that development was just completely out of our budget. And then we looked even further out of London, but somewhat still reasonably close to work, because we thought our priority is obviously within the budget, a reasonable commute to work, and just a nice enough living space to hold us. And we thought, it's just the 2 of us, we just need 1 bedroom for us and then a guest bedroom for anyone else, a decent living dining space. The kitchen was a priority to us because my partner likes to cook, I like to bake, so we need substantial amount of kitchen space, and we're still sort of struggling to find space for everything, but it's not like we don't have space for everything. So they have thought of storage quite nicely, which in some new builds you will find that the wardrobe is missing, so they haven't thought about an idea for a wardrobe. It's just the bed in a bedroom and no wardrobe space at all. So, but yeah, when we started looking at houses, when we started looking at house prices, the type of house we wanted, it was out of our budget. So we thought, let's leave it until next year, like April. We'll save up, we'll give ourselves another like 6 months. At this point, we've moved back in with my parents to save more money, so we've stopped renting. We still like contributed towards the household, so we still paid some form of rent, but it was drastically less than what we paid renting a whole flat. So we pinched the extra pennies, and we really wanted to make it work, and we said we'll give ourselves an extra, we gave ourselves an extra year to save up and get into that position to be able to buy. At this point, when we first got in touch with Taylor Wimpey, they gave us their details for their mortgage advisor, who I got into touch with, and they give free advice. So I kept calling them and like, okay, so I'm looking at this house, this is how much it costs. We provided all of our income details, so no credit checks were run or nothing like that. So they were just doing the maths for us. And then they came back and said, okay, so I have these providers who could give you mortgage at this percentage with this interest rate. You would need this much deposit. So we just really wanted to know how much money do we have to get together to get this house. And we needed that conversation, and we needed that goal to be realistic about the type of houses we wanted to buy, and the mortgage advisors really helped us with that. And this was free advice from the development mortgage advisors, and these are independent mortgage advisors, so it's like they have their own little panel that they work with, and I found that was really helpful, especially for me. Like, I had no idea what I had to do, and I just had a phone call with them, and they explained. Anytime I emailed them saying I'm looking at this house, this is how much it costs, even when our like work situation changed, they just amended the details, and boom, like they gave us the numbers that we needed. So then we looked at Barrett as well, some Barrett developments, because they're almost like next to each other all the time. So if there's a Taylor Wimpey development, there seems to be a Barrett development. Like, they're all very close to each other. But from Barrett, like, personally, I didn't receive the type of service or help I was hoping for. So when we were viewing places, I felt like we weren't taken seriously. I understand that we were viewing not with a attitude to buy right now, but if the house was the right price and we had the right deposit, we would buy right now. But we needed some guidance as to what's available. And to me, it was a very like cold service, I would call it. When I spoke to their mortgage advisors, so they also have their own panel of mortgage advisors, which are award-winning, all this, big titles. The person that I happened to speak to, the advisor that I was happened to be given on this occasion, wasn't helpful. It was very, no, you can't do that. No, that's not good enough. Whereas Taylor Wimpey was like, let me see what I can do, let me make some calls, let me, you know, it was never a no, it was very open, let me see what I can do to help you. And it was, I just loved that, because I don't know what else I can do. And, you know, when the answer is no, it's kind of like, you know, disheartening in the whole situation. Then we sat down, I think in January, and we wrote down like a list of pros and cons. So we've visited numerous developments, we've seen numerous house types, and we sort of narrowed it down to what's in our budget, what we like. We had floor plans out, we had the list of facilities out, a list of services they offer, and we sat down and wrote a pros and cons list for them all. And then we said, okay, with 3 beds we'd be stretching ourselves, let's have a look at 2 beds. Should we consider 2-bed flats? Should we look at 2-bed houses? We thought, no, let's stick to houses, because, you know, it's bigger property, bigger value. We really wanted a garden as well, even though at the moment we can't make use of it. But there were just some things that we wanted out of our property, especially how it's our first. So we wrote down the pros and cons, and we went back to the developments that we liked, the area that we liked, the developments that we liked, to say, okay, now we're looking for 2 beds, this is our budget, do you have anything available for us to buy? We have our 5% deposit, we even have 10% deposit, what do you need? Now, funny enough, because of the first impression we had of the Camford, we were leaning towards the Barratt 2 beds, which we've never seen. They didn't have a show home, so we couldn't go to view. We had no idea what they looked like. But judging from their 3-bed houses that we did view, I quite liked the way they did their layouts and the type of finishes they had. But we were judging this off of previous other developments, so every development, I have to say, is different. And weirdly, we said, you know what, there's nothing available, which there wasn't in the places that we liked, but they said they will become available in the next phase. So we waited, but we didn't have to wait so long. In January, I had, when was that? I actually have a timeline written out here in my notebook. So let's have a look. So this is our journey with Taylor Wimpey after we received an email in January. So on the 6th of January, we viewed different developments, and then on the 18th of January, so I think a couple of weeks later, we went back and viewed one particular development with Taylor Wimpey that we liked. We went back to her, just have a look at the area itself, so not just the development but the area. We really liked the area, and there was 3 developments within the same space, so we said, okay, we've got options. Then on the 21st of January, I had an email from Taylor Wimpey asking, are we still interested in the Camford, so the 2-bed houses, and if there is anything, you know, they can do to help us. And we were basically told that with the Camford, we needed 15% deposit. And we just said, well, clearly our mortgage advisor said that we just don't have the funds to even buy a 2-bed. So if the purchase price of the Camford would have been 5% cheaper, we would have had the full deposit there and there. So I was very honest with the lady on this development who sent me the email. I said, obviously it's just out of our budget and we can't. And she goes, but you only need 5% and you have 10%, then why can't you purchase it? And it was because of our income. The mortgage people, just high street mortgage providers, just wouldn't give us a mortgage, the full mortgage. So they were requiring 15% from us, and then that was with the help to buy 20% equity. So they were only providing 75%. No. 65% mortgages. So yeah, we were stuck. So the lady said, who did you speak to? Let me give them a call and let's work something out. And then like an hour, not even an hour, probably half an hour after that email/phone conversation, I had a text from Barratt to say their 2-bed houses just come back on the market, and they are, I think they were 10% cheaper. No, more. They were like at least 10% cheaper, so they were like well within our budget. And yeah, I was at work, so I was in the middle of all of this, and I couldn't even focus on work because I just thought, you know, what are we gonna do? Like, we've got options now, and the 2 beds are back on the market. It is within our budget, but we've never seen the houses before. And then, you know, I've got Taylor Wimpey trying to work something out for us because we have seen their comforts, and, you know, we'd be happy with them now because, you know, we just didn't see it for what it was. So the next day we reserved a Camford. We sat down, and even with the price difference, so I think it was like a 10 grand price difference at least, Barratt had less. So the plots were smaller, the house layout was different. So when we looked at floor plans and photos, the living room wasn't a proper living. I don't know how to explain it to you, but if you would like the video and I'll give you a Camford tour. But I much preferred the layout of the Camford, and for the price we were getting better value for money. Not to mention we got an extra bathroom. So not only do we have a toilet downstairs, we have a main bathroom with a bath, and we have an ensuite in our master bed. And I just thought, for that amount of extra money, like, we're getting so much more with this house than we would have with Barratt. And every time I spoke to their mortgage advisors, their customer service, even the development, I just felt like Taylor Wimpey was much nicer. I just have to put it that way. So on the 22nd of January, we reserved the house. So you pay a reservation fee to reserve the house, which would mean that it is off the market. So it won't be advertised online anymore. It'll just be taken off until you start your proceedings. So on the 25th of January, we officially signed the documents to reserve, and because the house, where the house is, the first fixed phase has already begun, they wanted us to choose our kitchen options as soon as possible. Now I can pop in a little video here. So these are the options we went with. I don't know if this works, but so we had to confirm our kitchen options, because the fun thing about buying a new build, which I absolutely loved, is the customization is in the price. One of the many reasons we also went with the new build is the options for customization. House prices for the size and the location are pretty similar, so we would have to fork out the same money for a second-hand building and fork out more money for the renovations and make it how we would like the house to be. Just because the house is a certain style, certain age, it doesn't mean it's going to be cheaper. Whereas here we have full customization options, starting with the kitchen. So the kitchen, you choose the countertop, the cabinet door colours. You have the standard and the premium option. I think you can guess there is a difference. So with these things, the developments sometimes can offer incentives. So this can be, you know, you can choose, well, they can give you money towards the interior. Standard things are usually free and included, so there is a standard option range where it's free to come with, and then you can pay extra for premium things. So if you want something specific, if you want something done, they will do it for you, but you just have to pay them. So, you know, the options are there. So we confirmed our kitchen options, and then on the 31st of January we sent off our mortgage application, and we were dealing with mortgages first. They have like a purple logo, I'll put their contact details down below. I can't recommend them enough for their work. Literally, our mortgage offer was turned around within 48 hours. So it was an incredible speed that they worked at, and because of my working hours, I would only be able to complete the documents that they required late at night. So sometimes I would be scanning, completing, sending emails at like 9 p.m. and sometimes I had the mortgage advisor call me after I straight sent them an email to say, oh, you forgot to sign here, oh, you just need to complete here, you know, you need to rescan this document because, I don't know, the corner isn't showing or something like that. But they were on it. So yeah, I sent everything over on the 31st. It got submitted to the mortgage provider on the 1st of Feb, and then on the 5th of Feb we had the call to say it's been approved, so it was very, very quick. And then on the 6th of Feb we had a meeting with our builder. So throughout the new build journey you have a meeting with this site manager who explains the build journey, the floor plans, the development plan, where the drain pipes are, the wall, the insulation, the cables, any questions you have about the build, the material, anything that's got to do with the actual build itself. It is your opportunity to ask. And the only thing to me was valuable advice, because anything he told me I had no idea. I took my mum with me. My family's in construction, so she understood everything, and they just know what's going on and what's being said. I had no clue. But two things that he mentioned is, don't use your loft for storage. One, it invalidates your warranty. Two, it damages the insulation. So right now we've got very thick insulation and this house gets really hot really quickly and it holds the heat quite well, so the energy rating is better as well. But yeah, so don't use your loft for storage purposes just yet. And second is, let the house dry out. So for the first 12 months, don't decorate. If it's necessary that you decorate, use porous paint. It will say specifically on there, so it's breathable, because obviously the house gets built so quickly, it needs to have time to dry out, and that's why you will get cracks and things like that throughout as the house is drying. So next, on the 15th of Feb, we had to confirm all of our options. So we came back in and we confirmed the kitchen again to make sure that is exactly what we wanted, even though it was already put in there. So we confirmed the counter, the cabinets, and then the flooring. So carpet is standard in most areas, and then it's vinyl for the wet rooms, including the kitchen. If you want hardwood flooring or Cardine, it is a premium option and you may need to pay extra for it. So we opted for a grey carpet throughout, and then a black kind of tile effect vinyl in the kitchen to go with the grey themed kitchen. And then we were given incentives by the development, so money towards our options. So we added Cardine flooring to the bathrooms, including downstairs toilet, so that gave it a more tile-like effect without using tiles. I think it's really nice, to be honest, so we're really happy with it. Additional options which are not included or were not included in our development, and it is different from development to development, so please ask every development as to what's included, because sometimes things like the turf in your back garden is not included, or flooring is not included, so you get concrete flooring, then you have to sort the flooring yourself. Appliances, so an integrated kitchen is a premium option. We went for standard, so we sourced it ourselves, which I believe is much cheaper than getting an integrated kitchen. Plus you would have to leave the appliances there and they choose the appliances for you. So we had a specific like fridge, dishwasher in mind, things like washing machine, so standard, it was just cheaper and better option anyway. So one thing that was not included is a shower in the main bathroom where you have the bath. So if you just get the bath by itself, You only get tiling around the wet room, like the wet places. So you would only get it to a certain height around the bath, and then just a splashback behind the sinks. If you get a shower, you get a full tiling around the bath and the shower, of course, and then splashback on the sinks as well. However, we went for like a half room tiling, which was extra again. So, you know, full tiling wherever the wet rooms are, the wet places are, and then half wall tiling around the rest of the bathroom. And we did that just in the main bathroom. The ensuite stayed as it is, so full tiling in the shower and then just a splashback. And we wanted a shower because, you know, it's a guest bathroom, so guest needs to shower. I don't want them coming in my ensuite. The next thing we opted for are towel rails, which are again extra. But thinking back now, we probably could have sourced it ourselves, but it was just hassle free. So, and it was part of our, it was still covered by our incentives. So we added a towel rail in our ensuite and the main bathroom, not into the downstairs toilet. We thought it was pointless. The tiny little radiator that's in there is absolutely fine. And then extra underlay after, under the carpet. So one, it adds extra insulation, and it makes the carpet a whole lot softer. So yeah, we just added that as a little extra, and I think that pretty much maxed out our incentive. We only just added those extras because we had the incentive, so we just wanted to make the most of it. And then once all the options were confirmed, and again, if you want to see those, I can do a Canva video, so let me know, and then I can detail all the option names, so the tiles, the carpet, because I actually took photos and videos during our options meeting, because sometimes my partner can be there, so I would take videos, show it to him, then we would email the development back saying this is what we wanted. But again, it can be different for every development. So after the options were confirmed, we submitted our solicitors pack on the 3rd of March. So this went from the 15th of Feb to the 3rd of March. Our solicitors officially sent us a pack of documents, and I loved it. Also, these solicitors, can't fault them, Evolve Law. They are based in Milton Keynes, I believe. Very modern. We had an app with a pie chart that showed us our percentage of progress. So every time there was an update, it showed us how far along we are in the journey. There was a task list with ticky boxes, so a task would be ticked every time they completed something. It came with a short description of exactly what that stage meant. All of our documents that was emailed to us were also saved in this app, so I had access to them anytime. I still do. And when they sent us the physical pack that we had to sign, it had little ticks, little yellow sticky notes, exactly where to sign. So it was an absolute breeze. And then on the 10th of March, we officially exchanged. Now, exchanging basically just means that we exchange contracts. So we make the sale official. Our intention to buy official, so there's no backing out unless something goes wrong that is covered by the contract. But technically at this point there is no backing out, and then, you know, it's full steam forward. And then in March, 23rd of March, the construction stopped for obvious reasons. Our completion date or time frame was May-June. At the point of exchange, nobody knew obviously this is going to happen. We were looking to move in closer to May than June, so our completion was changed to May, so they were making really good progress. But just to put it into perspective, our first fix was completed on the 27th of February. So the first fix is like the outer frame of the house, making it waterproof. The construction stopped on the 23rd of March. Construction resumed on the 16th of May. So until then the house just stood still, but we were told that the house was watertight, so no damage was caused by letting it sit. The completion window went from May to June to September/October. So considering how much time the construction stopped for, obviously they're giving themselves a longer completion window because of reduced staff, short of supply, etc, etc. So, but the second fix was completed on the 9th of July, and then snags and finishing touches was on the 24th of July. The inspection for the house was on the 7th of August, and we were given notice of completion on the 14th of August. This is a 2 weeks notice for key collection, so you can collect your key anytime within that 2 weeks from the notice. And if there is, so when there's an inspection and something doesn't pass, so a snag or something wasn't completed, so the builders get 1 week to complete the issue, unless it's a really bad one, but at this point there shouldn't be any huge issue. So after that there can only be like a 1 week delay after the inspection, but if there is nothing wrong, you get the notice of the completion the following week. 2 weeks to collect keys, so we collected it the following week on the 21st of August, and we officially moved in on the 28th of August, so not in September or in October. So they worked really hard, really fast to get us completed as soon as possible. So I hope that time frame helps to put things in perspective. Given that obviously construction stopped and slowed down, I think they still made really good time. So you can imagine how quickly these type of houses go up. And we only had 2 snags when we moved in. So one was, we had like a mastic silicone spillage over our kitchen counter. So it was like you would have a pot, and I saw like the rings on top of our counter, and then little splatters everywhere. So I think someone who was like just, you know, filling the edges of the kitchen counter on just wasn't careful. But literally the minute it was reported, they got a cleaner in who cleaned the counter. It literally came off quite easily actually. And then the other snag was a broken tile in our ensuite shower. Now this was right where the door was screwed on, so I'm guessing when they fixed the door on it was a bit too tight and the tile literally just cracked. But literally the minute it was reported, they came, they fixed it, you know, no bad comments about that at all, because they were really on it, and we didn't have to wait for anything else. And apart from that, we've been in the house for over eight weeks now, and we haven't had any further snags or any issues with the house. And we've had the heating on, we've used I think every single element of the room, so we haven't had anything else go wrong or not work or be damaged. And what happens when you move in, we had a little goodie box. This is also custom to every development with Taylor Wimpey, a little welcome box which we had teas, coffees, biscuits, crackers, fudge, you name it was in there as a little treat to welcome us into our home. When we got the keys, we got given a little home demo. So usually there is a dedicated person who gives you a home demo, which just means they show you around your house, how everything works, where everything is. But given the current situation, ours was very brief, and I think now they've gone digital, so it's like a virtual, like a video you have to watch as a home demo, so it's not very specifically tailored to your home. That's the only issue that I had. I mean, there isn't anything that we didn't know how it worked, but yeah, it would have been nice to be, you know, given a proper introduction as to how things work, because you know, we don't know everything, so it would be nice. But nevertheless, they were very caring afterwards. And then I think it was like the first 2 weeks they checked in every week, then every 2 weeks, then 4 weeks, then 8 weeks. So there is like a check-in points for them before they sign you off to like the central customer service. So up to your first eight weeks in your home, they will be looking, like the development will look after you directly. If you have any issues with the home in the first 8 weeks, it should sort of show. And then after the 8 weeks, you get signed off to central customer service, and then your 2-year warranty begins. So another great thing about buying new build is that you have a 2-year warranty with the development itself and NHBC. But with NHBC, you have a 10-year warranty for the structure of your home. So there is obviously ins and outs of what it includes, but basically within your first 2 years, if anything goes wrong, so plumbing, electricals, not cosmetic damage basically, anything that goes wrong, they will come and fix it for you. Anything after the 2 years, it has to be a structural issue, which right now I can't imagine what it would be, but you know, it's there, and that's covered for 10 years by the NHBC. Whereas if you buy a second-hand home, and I have to do this because I don't know what else to call them, you don't. So if a boiler breaks or a cable doesn't work, you have to fork the money out yourself, source a contractor yourself, and you have to fix it yourself. So as a first-time buyer, I don't have that headache, and it's just amazing. So I just feel very comfortable, and it was a very safe option with all the support that we were given. So far, so good. I think that's pretty much it about our experience with Taylor Wimpey, our first-time buyer experience. If there is anything I missed out or anything you have questions about, please pop them down below. And then if there is quite a few questions, I will put them into a Q&A and answer them like this again. If it's just a couple, I'll reply to them directly, as always. But I hope this has been helpful. I'm sorry that it's a really lengthy video again, but I feel like I've covered all ins and outs of the first time home buying process and our Taylor Wimpey experience. So thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and if there is anything you'd like to know, if you would like to see a Camford tour, because I know there isn't a lot, now they do virtual tours on their websites by the way as well, but if you'd like to see how we furnished it, how we fitted things, leave a like below or a comment, and I'll get on that once everything's nicely furnished and looking proper, and then I can tell you our measurements if you like. But again, I have to make you aware, all houses are different. Floor plan wise, maybe not, because they tend to be quite similar with their layouts, especially if it's the same house type. But for example, how long this room is, how much that gap is, it can be different. It really depends on the plot size you're buying, and obviously how much space they have to build a house. Eventually when they build it, you know, they give you an approximate measurement, so nothing is certain until you go in there and you measure it yourself, because it just changes. So, but I can give you an idea, you know, of how big things are in here, or how little, how we filled it with things. So let me know. And that's it. I hope this was helpful. I don't know what else to say. Thank you for watching again. Yeah.